This intricate piece of fabric I'm holding could be one of the last of its kind. It's a binakol, and it's slowly disappearing from our world.
I went back to the same community after I finished university and then sadly witnessed the death of a culture firsthand. I was really bothered and disturbed by the fact that 4 years ago it was a thriving village and then it was gone.
Across the Philippines, weaving traditions like this are fading away. Mass-produced clothing floods markets at prices that artisans can't compete with. Young Filipinos are leaving their villages for better-paying jobs, abandoning centuries of knowledge. The biggest factor why Filipino textiles are disappearing is the public stopped caring. So how can textiles that take days to produce survive in a world that wants everything now? Is it possible to modernize traditions that are so rooted in history and culture? And are we killing Filipino culture with our shopping habits? I'm Leo Albea, and this is One Down, where we redefine Filipino. If this is your first time really getting to know Indigenous Filipino traditions, let's break down some key terms. An artisan is a highly skilled craftsperson who creates items by hand. A weaver is an artisan who specifically creates fabric by interlacing threads on a loom. The technique or pattern they use, that's the weave. And the final product, those are our textiles. Now, when we say Indigenous Filipino textiles, we're talking about fabrics and weaves that come from communities in the Philippines that have been crafting these items for centuries. These techniques and designs existed long before colonization, passed down through generations. And no, not every Filipino is Indigenous. Indigenous Filipinos are specific ethnic groups like the Aita and Igorot. Indigenous Filipinos aren't people of the past. Reducing their culture to only history disrespects their resilience and lived realities today. We spoke with Anya Lim, CEO of Anthill Fabrics, about their work with Indigenous communities and traditional textiles.
I went to visit this weaving village with my family when we were kids. My mom was a Jesuit volunteer. I was so drawn to that experience. I went back to the same community after I finished university and then it was gone. It was totally gone. They all became tour guides because that provided instant income. No one was buying it because there's a negative perception around wearing weaves, it being uncool to wear, they're mostly used for homewares. And then, you get really cheap machine manufactured clothes. And so people just stop weaving.
In a world where everything is made as fast and as cheap as you want it, you just can't put a price on Filipino textiles. They are timeless pieces of living art, woven with centuries of culture and skill. So what makes these textiles so special? We also spoke with Brandon Comer, creative director and founder of Bago, to understand how they're incorporating these traditional weaves into modern American fashion.
So Bago's a Filipino American lifestyle brand. We seek to help preserve Filipino weaving heritage by actually directly collaborating with the Indigenous weavers themselves and showcasing their craft through our designs. They're really struggling to kind of pass on the heritage, just the capitalistic nature of the world. Things that are as intricate as the weaves take a lot of time and they're expensive to make. So the weaves are made in now aren't usually 100% cotton. And the reason for that is it goes back
Historically, what really put it at risk are the strong import substitutes that started coming from India and China. So it really killed our cotton industry.
So now these days, it's actually really hard to find high quality cotton in the Philippines. So that means it's super expensive. So that's both cost prohibitive for both the weavers themselves and people trying to source it like me. Touching on sort of how we innovate, we actually are really particular about every fabric we use. So I source so many fabrics just for the shirt. Most shirts are maybe 5 ounces. Our first t-shirt was actually 15 ounces, 3 times that. That's because we wanted to sort of indicate the significance of the piece and match the value of the textile. Even the softness of the fabric, we tried different ways to do it. We wanted just enough softness that it felt approachable and comforting. And that's why it's so important for us to have partnered with Anthill.
The question we had in mind was, where do people spend on clothes? And so we thought that to elevate the value for weaves is translate them in designs that can be worn in a way where it's functional. You're able to wear it every day. And again, the community was very happy with the collaboration because it challenged them also to look into how they're able to customize patterns. Brandon, he was really drawn to the Binakol fabric, which is what I'm wearing now.
Binakol, from the Ilocos and Cordillera regions, features geometric patterns believed to ward off evil spirits. It is created on petal looms by communities like Mang Abel Tiabra, and the kusikus pattern, resembling whirlpools, symbolizes natural elements central to Indigenous Filipino life.
I think the optical illusion pattern to it is very modern, but at the same time, the pattern is also very much indigenous to the ethnic community.
We actually make like a rectangular transparent vinyl that has marks on it that match up with the kusikus pattern on the binakol. We use that so that the manufacturer has a way to like be as precise as possible when they're cutting the fabric, and so that each shirt like mostly looks the same. Because it's hand woven, it's inevitable that there's like a variation. I don't even think a lot of customers know this, that each shirt actually is like kind of a one of one. Another complex like challenge for using these really intricate weaves. So like one of our latest pieces, the heritage hooded jacket, has a Pinilian.
Pinilian, meaning chosen, originates from Santiago, Ilocos Sur. The Corazon Agosto weaving community creates this intricate fabric using a unique stick insertion technique, producing floating 3D designs often depicting nature. It takes a full day to weave just 1 to 2 meters, showcasing the weaver's skill and patience.
Because that textile is like floating, makes it really tricky to just to simply like make a buttonhole. So we had to like go through a lot of iterations of that.
Even Vogue Philippines has played a role by showcasing Filipino textiles in a global luxury context, helping to reshape perceptions of indigenous fabrics. They are no longer seen as just craft, but also as high fashion. Meanwhile, the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, or NCCA, is tackling a different but equally critical problem: the lack of financial incentive for younger generations to pursue weaving as a career. The NCCA's approach is to make weaving a viable livelihood by providing training, support, and educational programs that help artisans elevate their craft to meet the standards of the contemporary market. HABI, the Philippine Textile Council, has also been helping weavers integrate e-commerce and through their annual Likang HABI Market Fair. Getting them to market isn't where it ends. HABI conducts educational initiatives to raise awareness about the cultural significance of these crafts.
You know, we have worked on advocacies around the patterns being printed on China, and we've worked to collaborate with policymakers on protecting our materials knowledge, the artisans that weave the Binakol fabric for bago. We incentivize our master artisans and augment their income by 20% so they can run their businesses independently and become self-reliant.
Together, these organizations are not just preserving tradition, they're giving it new life in a modern world.
The reason why we named the brand Bago at all, so Bago translates to new, it means fresh, it means modern, it means change. It is very important for us to express the duality of our identity as Filipinos and Americans. It's our way to kind of rediscover who we are and where we came from. That's kind of like our way to honor our heritage, which is actually to create something new, to leverage the weaves in a way that the diaspora might find it almost like familiar for them, and to be able to just interact with it and be curious about it.
As Filipino Americans, there are multiple reasons why we may grow up disconnected from our culture and heritage in the Philippines. And it's thanks to partners like Bago, who provide our community a platform to reconnect with this heritage, not only through sharing the stories of Filipino weavers, but creating a physical collection where we can wear the art from these communities. If you want to wear your heritage, visit the link below and explore the different pieces that each have an intentional integration with the Filipino textile. Preserving these textiles isn't just about keeping pretty patterns alive, it's about protecting a vital part of Filipino identity.
I think it's a crisis. You know, we have in the Philippines that poverty of identity. Like, our sense of identity is so weak because of years of colonization we have experienced, and the longing from the diaspora community, especially among the younger generation, to reclaim that has had such a strong influence in the way the local market and the local consumers behave. It makes them rethink. Wearing weaves for me is a form of ancestral healing because we're reclaiming something that was once lost, and now we're actually elevating the value of it.
In the end, preserving Filipino textiles is about weaving a stronger, more culturally aware future. So what can we do? It's simple, really. Educate ourselves, research before we buy, understand the story behind each thread, and most importantly, respect the culture these textiles represent. According to Marlon Martin from the Save the Ifugao Terraces movement, he also reminds us of the human element. Many weavers create these textiles just to put food on the table. Every thread tells a story, every pattern holds history, and every textile embodies the Filipino spirit. When you see a Filipino textile, remember, you're looking at centuries of tradition, hours of craftsmanship, and a vital piece of cultural heritage. Let's keep these stories and textiles alive. Thanks for watching. We are One Down, an independent Filipino media company. We work to make content like this accessible to everyone, and it's thanks to our community partners like Bago that we can cover topics like this one on the importance of Filipino textiles and the indigenous communities they come from. So if you want to learn more about Bago and how they ethically source Filipino textiles to incorporate into their collections, visit their website here and consider checking out their heritage line featuring the Binakol and Pinilian textiles. As always, thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe and follow us on Instagram, and we'll see you in the next video.